So how do I get to yes? That is the negotiation tool we're all trying to get to, getting to yes. For those of you who got to hear, Diane got a yes this week. She got a yes to her agreement. We want all of you to get to yes in your mediation agreement. I'm hoping that every single person on this call who is going to go through mediation can get to a yes. But you know what? You might only get to 90% of yes, and you might need some help with lawyers to do that last 10%. But it doesn't mean that you don't want to move forward with mediation because you're in fear of the 10%. Get to 90, get to that yes, but you need to be understanding in order to do that. So the way that you get to those yeses and move that mediation process forward is that you say things like, okay, well, I agree to part of what you're saying. Okay, but I value X, Y, and Z. And so there's a few things that I'm not going to be able to agree with, but I'm willing to compromise. Okay. The other things you can say are things like, I appreciate you hearing me out, because you need to set some rules for how this mediation is going to take place. You don't want to talk over each other. You want to take turns. Maybe you do some caucus mediation, meaning that you're going one-to-one with your mediator and allowing her to iterate to each of you what the other person said by drawing some meaning if you feel that your boundaries are not being listened to. But coming up with the rules of engagement, of negotiation, and writing down those rules of engagement are really important. It's no different than going into a business meeting. I mean, there's so many business meetings that they say like, okay, this is the way the meeting's going to be run. We want to make sure that nobody, we're going to have so-and-so present today. Let's wait to ask our questions at the very end. At the very end, we'll make sure we go around the circle and everybody will be able to ask their questions appropriately. That's a meeting, right? Well, guess what? You're about to engage in a meeting with a mediator, or maybe it's with your lawyer. So you need to sit down and make sure that you have set the rules for how you are going to move this discussion forward. The idea is you also need to be understanding. I appreciate your perspective. Can we explore some options and the outcomes that we might achieve by them? Right? Can we agree to include both of our views in creating solutions? What you want to make sure is that you're focused on the solution and not on the problem. If you can't get off the problem hamster wheel, if the problems are where you keep going around and around and around, I want you to press pause and I want you to regroup and I want you to be able to say, you know what? I think we're really stuck here on the problem. But we need to be thinking about solutions. I hear your perspective and this is mine. Let's just kind of write them both down and get a deeper understanding of maybe why each of us are having these perspectives. Like I gave that example. I want the house. Well, why do you want the house? Well, I want the kids to have a secure, stable environment. Okay, well, can we create a secure and stable environment for our children without you staying in the house? Is that even possible? And let's explore it. So again, I want you to stay very open-minded and be very solutions oriented and getting an understanding for what is happening beneath the request. Okay. Because if you dive deeper, I bet you will recognize and see some potential pinholes that you can begin to open up a little bit more to get some light through those, where something that you thought was the end all be all might have alternative solutions. Okay. So please check for understanding, make sure that you're listening and that you're not always talking and that you can understand each other's perspective.